What is happening? AJ Gamer Dude here, and I made a video about Concord and like how it got a very mixed opinion, well, mostly negative opinions from the general gaming audience, and especially from the Sony side. What with it being like, a first party game that's going to be releasing on PlayStation and PC, and by now it has actually officially launched as of me recording this video. Now, that being said, however, one of the main complaints that I've been seeing in the comment sections of not just my own video, but of course other people's videos as well, is the fact that it feels like it's a very late game, as in it came out way later than it should have, because of course we had stuff like Overwatch that was, absolutely taking over the gaming space back when it released in 2016. So for this game to come out in 2024, it does feel like it's very out of place, out of its own actual time, especially when, we had games like Gearbox's, I was going to say Bloodborne, but it's something else, Battleborn, yeah, that's what I meant to say. So it's probably no surprise to learn that Sony's live service hero shooter Concord has been in development for around 8 years. And if we do the math on that, the development started back in 2016, and so, yep, that very much feels like it makes sense. The fact that development started around the period of time in which hero shooters were considered to be very popular and was soaking up a lot of attention, especially since Blizzard was first to the punch with Overwatch. Everyone started following that trend from that point moving forward, and as a result, we now see what may very well be a potential casualty in the whole live servicification of the industry as a whole, and that is very unfortunate. But of course, everyone who commented on videos saying, this game should have released a long time ago, or that if it's going to release now, it should be free to play, all of these comments are pretty much spot on with the whole market, the concept of like the market being in the hero shooter space, or just the hero shooter market sort of in general. Because yeah, now hero shooters are pretty much coming out left, right and center that are very much free to play. Like for example, Marvel Rivals is going to be free to play coming out in December. Overwatch 2 did go free to play after it completely, replaced Overwatch as a whole. So yeah, it being a cheaper title at $40 rather than $60 doesn't really make a difference, since what was it, Overwatch was $40 or $50 at launch back in 2016, so we weren't really all that accustomed to free-to-play titles, but considered it with immediate suspicion, given that probably the only really good free-to-play games back then were really stuff like Warframe and things along those lines. Rather, Warframe is probably the first thing that I could think of, and I don't think my mind went any further in that direction. So yeah, it really does make a hell of a lot of sense talking about it. So this is what the lead character designer John Winuski says. The game has been in development for around 8 years, and I've been there for almost 5 of them. I'm going to say, what's his first name? John. What John said. We don't get a lot of launch days in our careers, so today is special for a ton of reasons. Oblige me some good vibes today. And unfortunately, I can't really oblige him too much on the good vibes, because the game isn't doing particularly well in terms of actual numbers on Steam or anything along those lines. So yeah, just to give you a bit of an idea of what Concord is, it's a 5v5 first-person shooter that follows Sony's strategy with the phenomenally successful Helldivers 2 by launching on PS5 and PC at the same time, with a cheaper price point that is not 70 USD, which is what the current going price is for full price titles, whereas back in 2016 it was $60. But yeah, so early indications that Concord is set to endure a tough time on PC, extremely low numbers of Steam concurrent players for the pre-launch betas, and that is very true, because the game actually had not particularly good numbers during its closed beta, but the fact that it's open beta, which was open to all players, so closed beta was only open to people who actually pre-ordered the game, and the open beta was then open to everyone who, you didn't need to do anything to have access to the beta. The open beta actually had lower numbers than the closed beta on Steam. In fact, I think it was less than half the numbers. So it really does feel like, you know, this. It really does feel like, oof. Yeah, I think oof is the only way that I could truly describe the whole idea of not just Concord's existence, but very much its entire development process as a whole. I feel like I kind of just completely lost my train of thought just now, so... And in fact, I definitely did. I feel like there's very little for me to talk about here, besides the fact that I think that this game may at some point, sooner or later, go free to play, even though it was intended to be like a fully featured title at launch. But even with that being the case, it's very multiplayer heavy and centric, and so for that reason, as myself as a PlayStation gamer, I'm not all that interested in. But I do feel like I would want to ask the general Sony audience, hey, are you guys interested in multiplayer games? And if so, is it something that's on your radar? And if not, is there any particular reason for that? Like for myself, I dislike multiplayer only or multiplayer heavy titles, and I generally tend to steer away from that. So just it being a multiplayer game is enough for me to be like, I am going in the opposite direction because I cannot play solo. And it being online only means that buying the game digitally just isn't worth it. You're better off getting it physically and then just trading it in after the fact when you're done with the game, which I would personally not really stick with for all that long. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 300 subs by the end of the year. With all that said and done, I do have a Patreon, so if you do feel like tossing a few bucks my way, you can absolutely do that in the link below. And I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.